Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jessica, statement of publication.
Take notice that this regular agenda meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 24th day of March 2025 has been posted and advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Balca.
Here.
Palisi.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Sinarski.
Here.
Zabrowski.
Donna, if you would, please. Approval of prior minutes.
I move the following minutes of the mayor and council be approved on roll call vote, subject to correction if necessary, the March 10th, 2025 regular agenda and executive sessions. Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Balca.
Abstain.
Palisi.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Okay, with that, we have a very special guest here tonight. He is a New Jersey State wrestling champ, and it's not the president, but it is the mayor. So we're going to have a family member come up to take pictures, and then, as I said to the family members, feel free to move around. Matt, come up to the podium. Thanks. Are you guys coming out?
I just said no. I thought he's, I.
What I'm gonna do, Matt, just so you know, we're all incredibly proud of you. We really are. And your sister too. But I'm going to ask our council president, Donna Roberts, who's in charge of all recreation, to read your proclamation. All right? You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to do the same thing when your sister comes up.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Matthew. And we are so very proud of you. This is a certificate of recognition presented by the mayor and borough council to Matthew Brown. Presented today, the Borough Council extends their warmest congratulations to Matthew Brown for his historic achievement as becoming the first New Jersey State Youth Wrestling Champion from Sayreville. Matthew is an 8th grade student at the Sayreville Middle School who has demonstrated exceptional skill, determination, and sportsmanship in the sport of wrestling. His commitment, discipline, resilience serves as an inspiration to fellow students, athletes, and residents of Sayreville. He competed in the 175-pound weight class, emerging victorious and earning the title of New Jersey State Youth Wrestling Champion, bringing great honor and recognition to our community. Congratulations once again on this remarkable accomplishment. Signed by the mayor and council. Congratulations.
Super proud of you. Take it next level. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Donna. You got to walk the gauntlet.
Congratulations.
Great job.
8th grade. How big this guy is.
Matt, come on back. Now, remember, no, come on up. You know, we get to embarrass you more. Wave to your mother on television.
I'm on. Oh, my dad.
Okay, so can you tell us who your coaches are and what it was like?
Of course.
Face the camera so that your mother will have this forever and ever.
All right, can I go like from the start? Like, oh,
You do it the way you want to do it.
All right.
It's your night.
yeah. So, wow.
This is a big achievement. Thank you for having me again. Um, so for the state tournament, I train at Triumph in Ocean County, and I have a couple coaches there, Coach Nick Roy, Coach Kyle Kiss, and Coach Kenny Theobald. They really trained me like really hard. And then I'll say in February, I had this coach, Coach Anthony Pafumi. He was with me like for I would say 1 or 2 years. And in the last month, he's really been training me hard. He supported me the whole time. And like he's always like behind my back. And yeah. And yeah, so Coach Anthony Pafumi, he trained me the most and he coached me during the States actually. So it was him and my coach, Coach Kyle Kiss. They both trained me. I did private lessons. I've been working very hard. Even in school, it's been really tough also. Like a lot of like in the past year, I went through like parents divorcing and stuff, and it's really been hard for me. So I really had to push through it. And like my dad, my mom, my aunt, Diadez, DOJ, my grandma, Mama, I call her, and a couple of my friends, Gavin Rosario, especially, he's like a brother to me. They've really supported me, and wow, this is emotional. And like they've really pushed through me, you know, and like every single night, almost I'll cry. It's really been tough. And the wrestling part, it's been like it was okay for me. And in school, right? I would always like the teachers, they would support me too. But sometimes I feel like I would be in the wrong. Like I would always like I don't know. It was just very tough emotionally. But yeah. And then my coach Anthony Pufumi, like I said before, he really trained me through it all. But and also mentally, like I go to a therapist, coach. I mean, not coach, Dr. Brett Holman. Like he really on the mental side, he really helped me through it. And also, I want to say thank you to my dad. He like he really paid for like the Triumph. He like oh my god he what else? Like Triumph. He's been keeping my diet good. I really eat healthy and like he pushed me physically, mentally, and like he's really like my hero, honestly. And I love him so much.
Go ahead, Mom. Come up here.
Come in front of the podium. Come on, Dad, come on, come on. Wave to your mom and dad. Wave to the camera, sweetheart. Where's mom? Come on. So everybody with a camera, go in the center aisle. You get a better picture.
And face that way.
And face that way, yes. Beautiful.
Matthew, you're very, so proud of you.
And we expect to continue reading great things about you. And your turn is next month. Make sure mom calls. This is Nicole and this is Jessica, and make sure mom calls so we'll set something up. Okay? We've. Okay. We're proud of you, man. Job well done. Good job, mom.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good one. Thank you. Thank you. Mom.
Congratulations, Mom.
Good job.
George, get Matthew. I want to take a picture of you and Dad.
Oh, you want to take a picture of Mayor?
Yeah.
White? Can my son take a picture with you?
No, so, Liv, come here.
Over there.
You want to be in the picture, sweetheart?
How about we do one first? All right.
Have Dad walk in.
There you go.
There you go.
No, we're good. You ready?
Step back and get it wider, right?
There you go. All right, good. All right, thank you.
All right. I mean,
Thank you.
you too, very proud of you.
Thank you. Matthew did good. Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay. Counselor,
I'll read it.
you, good.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 5 to 10 minutes to discuss the following matters: attorney-client privilege, litigation, affordable housing. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of this public meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before it at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
There a motion?
Make a motion that we go into close?
A second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Balca.
Yes.
Polisi.
yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Zabrowski.
It should be 5 or 10 minutes. Take a motion to go into open.
Make a motion to reconvene?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Polisi.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Jessica.
Public hearing on ordinance number 10-25, Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, ordinance establishing regulations for the planting of bamboo throughout the borough.
This time I'll open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Other questions or comments? There being no questions or, well, come up, Jim.
Tim Robinson in Parlin. I had a conversation with my friend Mike on St. Patrick's Day, and he said, you're opposed to my ordinance. I'm not opposed to the ordinance, not at all. I just thought there should have been more discussion about it. And I was curious to know how the fines were determined.
Go ahead. Go.
Does anybody know?
How the fines?
How the fines were determined? How did you pick that?
It'll be determined by the court. There's a maximum fine
but
set
there's
forth
a-
in the ordinance, but.
Well, how is the
actual fine
maximum
gets-
that's in the ordinance? And is it what is it? Is it $1,200?
Yes.
And is it $1,200 per day?
Can't do, well, yes, if the zoning officer issues a summons for each individual day, yes, but there's been case law that says you can't just issue a summons.
Okay, so
It will
all I'm
carry over the
asking
day.
He knows the
is-
answer.
How did you come up with that? And one of my concerns is this. We had a matter thrown out of court, a very serious matter thrown out of court not too long ago, one that impacted health and safety in the town because the judge said the fees were onerous. And I'm just wondering if a judge might not say that a fee of $1,200 a day, and while I support this ordinance, I know they're invasive, I understand that, but I'm just wondering, and there's been no discussion on this, so that's why I bring it up now. Do you think a judge might say a fee of $1,200 a day for having a bamboo plant is onerous? And if you do think that, do you think we ought to change that? That's all.
Right. Could happen.
Could happen?
Judges are doing all kinds of things in the last 2 months, Jim. So this could just be one more thing.
Oh, thank you for that.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments on this ordinance? Being no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman Zabrowski.
Move the public hearing be closed. The ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Zabrowski.
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Polisi,
Yes.
Novak.
I'm going to abstain only because I didn't really know anything about this. And then I found out that most of the discussion happened last year. And for some reason, it got misplaced and it was never put back on the agenda till now. I think the $1,200 might be a little too high. I'd like to know what other towns are doing with the fees. I'm not against the ordinance in and of itself. That's why I'm going to abstain right now.
Roberts.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 11-25, Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, ordinance updating the borough's regulations for borough-sponsored athletic organizations.
This time I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Council President.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak. Abstain?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, yes,
Yes or abstain?
yes,
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay. Sinarski,
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to make the following appointment. Judy Larman, I'm going to change her. She's an alternate on the planning board. I'm going to change her to class 4. Correct. All right, since it's a mayoral appointment, it doesn't require any action on behalf of the governing body. New business?
Introduction of ordinance number 12-25, and ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance 2-24, fixing the salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2025 to 2027.
Councilman Balka?
Move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on 4/14/2025.
Second.
Councilpersons Balca,
Yes.
Polisi,
Yes.
Novak, Roberts,
Yes.
Stanarski,
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 13-25, Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex. Ordinance authorizing the Borough of Saraville's sale of the real property identified as Block 371, Lot 2.03 to the adjacent property owner.
Councilman Balka.
Move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on 4/14/2025.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Balca,
Yes.
Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Stanarski,
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
At this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on the consent agenda resolutions. Other questions or comments? Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, Parlin. First, I'd like to say I'm glad the power is on here. Also, Mayor, I'm glad you appointed Judy Larman. She's an excellent alternate. She'll be a great planning board member. Good move on your part. On Resolution 2588, which talks about a budget for the Township of Wykoff, I assume that's another typo or another cut and paste error. The way you're looking at one another, I might be the only one that caught that.
Was corrected.
It was corrected.
Okay, well, stop my clock on correcting your errors, please, okay? I want to also talk about 2025-87, increasing affordable housing numbers, 50 years ago this week, the Mount Laurel decision was handed down, and it looks like we still haven't figured that out. You could have challenged the numbers DCA gave you in October. Instead, in January, with no public discussion, you agreed to a present obligation of 194 units and a prospective need obligation of 210. That's a total of 404 affordable units. About 160 towns did challenge the DCA's allocation, and 85% had their numbers lowered. We didn't. Instead, tonight, with little public explanation, you're increasing our prospective need obligation by 30 to 240 units. That's a total of 434 present and future units. You went into executive session for exactly 4 minutes to discuss that, and I'd like to know more about this. What you aren't telling the people is the way the mayor has addressed affordable housing has been to build 6 market rate units for every 1 affordable unit required. So we're really talking about a potential of 1,500 units on top of the 2,000 being built at Riverton. So that's when you include Camelot and what's by Costa Verde, that's about 4,000 potential new apartments. Now, I'm for affordable housing, but what you're doing provides very few affordable units. It just helps rich developers get richer. It helps certain friends and contributors get approvals without making them replace the thousands of trees they take down. Have you seen what's happening in Melrose right now? God, it's terrible. I know a little bit about this. I was the planning board chairman during the McCormick administration. That was the last time we were in compliance. We were never sued, and in fact, we had a surplus of units that carried over to the next round. But in the last 25 years, until we were sued, we didn't allow any affordable units. So we were sued, and now we're paying the price. But people should know this. Our affordable numbers are based on the buildable land we have. Had the borough preserved the 40 acres behind Kennedy Park, and we have enough money in our open space fund to do that, had we preserved that, none of that would have gone into the calculations for our affordable obligation. Our numbers would probably be lower. In 2023, Mayors McCormick and Kilpatrick, in a bipartisan fashion, suggested that 40 acres be preserved using open space funds. The council agreed and voted to move ahead and even obtained appraisals. But Mayor O'Brien, who never preserved even 1 acre of land, had other ideas and stopped the acquisition. Had the mayor not done this, we would have preserved that property, and our affordable obligation might well have been less than it is now. In a borough form of government, remember this, it's the council, not the mayor, who's in charge. But you've surrendered your authority to him, and the council needs to do its duty. Remember this, in 2023, the mayor got 5,270 votes. Last year, Mary Novak got 9,944 votes, 4,700 more votes. Stosh, you were right behind her. You got almost as many votes as Mary. Donna and Dan, you got 6,000 votes. All of you got more than the mayor. Legally, you're in charge. You can vote to acquire this land, and you should, and it will impact our affordable housing quota. The other thing you haven't talked about is how warehouses impact affordable housing. You haven't told the public how low-wage commercial development raises our affordable requirement. And that, after all, was the basis of Mount Laurel. So you are the folks driving our affordable numbers higher. You had a closed session. Nothing has been discussed with the public. We don't know what's going on. I got an email from somebody today saying, had I not posted about this on Facebook, they wouldn't have known anything about this. You are you all got elected, most of you, as the transparency team. This is pretty important. We should know about it. Where's the planner? The planner should be here. Mayor, we had an excellent affordable housing planner that you got rid of for political reasons. The planner should be here to talk about the rationale for doing what we're doing. I'm not saying it's wrong. It might be right. We don't know.
Jim, thank you.
Thank you,
We
Mayor.
appreciate your
Always a
input.
pleasure.
Yeah. Are there any other questions, comments? Okay, that being said, entertain a motion.
I move the consent agenda items, the public hearing be closed, the ordinance. Sorry, I'm getting myself confused. I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
There, roll call? Second, I'm sorry.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Balca. Yep. Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak.
I'm going to be voting no. I think this doesn't really give any information to the residents of the town. I think perhaps maybe if we had somebody come in,
All right, what are you
explain
voting
this?
no on?
I'm sorry, on 87,
Okay,
2587.
okay.
I spent thank God, the planner spent about an hour and a half on the phone with me on Friday, because most of this was discussed last year when I wasn't on the council. And he was explaining to me, how these numbers come about and how we can change them one way or the other. And it's based on every bit of land in this town that does not have a building of some sort on it. And even if it's not zoned residential, we might wind up having to rezone this like we did the last time. And the last time, we were trying to make up for 20 years of no affordable housing. But we could wind up having to do the same thing now when we've been following all the rules and regulations. And people read, let's say everybody sat down and read the agenda and said, oh, there isn't anything important on there. I think maybe if it said more here, if we had a presentation prior with the planner explaining this, it would have been a better situation. And, also, I asked several times because I had heard that Riverton I wanted to know how Riverton's reductions in their homes was going to affect this because we would not have even met our obligation for 2025. And I was told repeatedly that they had not dropped their numbers. And yet there's an article in the paper that specifically says that they're no longer building 2,000 units. They are only building 1,300 units. So how that's going to affect, we're going to have to make those numbers up too. And nobody really knows any of this. So I'm voting no.
Yes on,
And yes on everything else.
Sinarski,
Yes.
Dabrowski.
Yes, but I do want to comment on 2025-87, and normally I kind of reserve myself on this. I'm sorry, I don't think my mic is on. I do want to comment on this because there was a lot of discussion, in particular inside there too. Mary, I guess, kind of changed her tune afterwards, but that's okay. The point being is we did challenge those numbers. We didn't sit back on our high knees and just wait. We did challenge those numbers, and we did it for a particular reason. Not because the calculations were wrong, because I agree, because we challenged the developable properties within town, on particular on acreages. And we were able to do this based on a very valid argument that certain areas simply weren't developable, whether they were encumbered by environmental issues, whether they were in a flood zone or for some other particular reason. We didn't just sit and take our stand on this. We spent time and considerable time on this. The reason why it couldn't be brought forward before this is because it had to be confidential, because we went through a process of mediation. Mediation is confidential. So this is the first opportunity to be able to raise this information and provide it. We went from a number of 270 down to 240. Would we have liked to have gone lower? Absolutely. And our argument was for lower. But I'll be honest with you, there are a number of towns that are challenging at this point, and they're mediating rather than challenging because that's the better way to go. I don't know exactly how all those towns will do, but I do say that we did a very fair job. And I applaud our business administrator, I applaud our municipal attorney, as well as our borough planner for giving that effort that they did, because it did reduce the numbers. No one wants to be able to have large numbers for affordable housing, but we're working very hard to be creative in the way in which we can do it. And I know that Mr. Robinson said in the past that you had certain numbers and certain ways of doing it, but round 4 allows us to be creative. And our township is working that way with our professionals to be creative, to make those numbers as low and to make the way in which we do this as best we can for our town. I'm tired of the grandstanding. That's not appropriate. The fact of the matter is our town has worked very hard in order to get those numbers down for our community. I vote yes on all items.
I need a motion to accept the correspondence that's listed.
I make a motion.
There's a roll call?
Council,
Absolutely.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Balca,
Yes.
Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Sinarski,
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Okay, council reports. Dan, are you up to it? Okay.
We hope to have a budget to introduce to the next meeting and progress.
Okay, planning and zoning, Councilman Zabrowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items. First, on a personal note, I want to congratulate now Chief Patty Konecki of the South Amboy Police Department as being appointed as their first, actually is the first female chief in Middlesex County, but also being the first female chief in South Amboy as well. She's going to do a heck of a job over there. For planning board and zoning, I just want to indicate that there are 2 meetings coming up for the planning board that I think are important. One is the April 2nd meeting, which is the subdivision hearing for the Journey Mill Road Urban Renewal Project. And secondly, on the 16th of April, that is the next scheduled meeting for the mosque. That meeting will be scheduled at the Active Adult Center at 7 p.m. Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you. Public safety, Councilman Khaleesi.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin with an update from the police department. So on Tuesday, March 11th, at 8:56 in the morning, the Sayreville Police Department received an urgent call regarding a fire at the Gallery Motel. Upon arrival, officers encountered thick smoke emanating from one of the rooms, and despite encountering deliberate obstruction at the door, our officers heroically forced entry and discovered a female victim trapped in the bathroom. Thanks to their swift and courageous actions, the victim was rescued without life-threatening injuries. The Sayreville Fire Department and JFK EMS promptly arrived to extinguish the fire and provide critical care to the victim, who was subsequently transported to St. Barnabas Hospital for further treatment. So during the rescue, one of our officers sustained injuries and was taken to Robert Wood Johnson's University Hospital. We are relieved to report that the officer has been discharged and is now recovering. So following a detailed investigation by Sayreville detectives, the female involved in the incident has been charged with arson, assault, criminal mischief, obstruction, and causing widespread injury and damage. She's now in the custody of the Middlesex County Adult Correction Center. This event serves as a powerful reminder of the risks faced by our first responders daily. We encourage all community members to remain vigilant, promptly report any suspicious activities and support the brave men and women dedicated to ensuring our safety. Then on March 17th, which was a Monday, Sayreville Police, in partnership with the Middlesex County Special Operations Response Team, executed a search warrant in Sayreville, leading to the apprehension of 2 individuals connected to a series of burglaries. Defendant number 1, who is Samit Matthews, 19 years old, of Sayreville, faces multiple charges, including 2 counts of burglary, 2 counts of theft, 1 count of possession of a handgun, 2 counts possession of a prohibited weapons involving ammunition and handcuffs, 1 count of certain persons not to possess a firearm. And then there's even further charges that are expected as the investigation continues. So the second defendant, Keyshawn Zephyrin, 21 years old, also of Sayreville, has been charged with 1 count of receiving stolen property. During the search of Matthews' residence, law enforcement recovered a stolen handgun, additional prohibited weapons, and evidence linking both defendants to the prior burglaries. The individuals are now in the custody of the Middlesex County Adult Correction Center, and additional charges are expected as investigations continue as well. The Sayreville Police Department urges all residents to stay alert and report any unusual or suspicious activities to help maintain the safety and security of our neighborhoods. Lastly, our police department reminds residents that applications for the New Jersey Civil Service Commission's Law Enforcement Entry Exam, which is LEE for short, are open until March 31st of this year. So interested candidates are encouraged to apply online via the Civil Service Commission website. So for more details and the application link, please visit the Sayreville Police Department social media platforms. So the next update on the public safety is from our fire department. Chief Gavin will be submitting another commendation for 2 firefighters who were involved in the rescue of the woman that I just previously mentioned from the room at that Gallery Motel on Tuesday, March 11th. Their names are Bruce Miller and Jacob Rivera. I'm hoping to present them at our next council meeting if available. For my report on the Office of Emergency Management, on March 17th, Office of Emergency Management, along with Sayreville Police, responded to the Bordentown Avenue in the area of William Street to report a train derailment. On their arrival, it was discovered that 6 rail cars had derailed and damaged the tracks at that crossing. Fortunately, the rail cars were empty and no one was injured. OEM coordinated with Sayreville Police, East Brunswick Police, as well as Conrail and the Norfolk Southern Railway Police. This incident was cleared up later that night. Then on March 20th, OEM attended a tabletop drill at the high school for evacuation and reunification with the school administration and their security. So I recently attended a meeting at the Office of the Aging, and we had guest speakers from the mayor's chiefs of staff, Ken Kelly and Deacon Andy. They introduced themselves and spoke about the different things they can offer to our community of aging. They have expressed their community involvement and availability to the public in the days ahead. And they will do brief presentations to the various existing senior clubs at their luncheons. And for the public who has interest, there are 3 major clubs to join at our senior center, which are the Tuesday Club, the Thursday Club, and a St. Stan's Club. So to all those registered, interested in anything to the senior center has to offer, please reach out to 732-390-7058. Finally, I'd like to mention that the Saraville Emergency Squad will be doing a blood drive on Tuesday, April 1st at their garage from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's at 776 Washington Road in Parlin. So to make an appointment and be a hero, the website is www.nybc.org/drive. And that sponsorship code is 13870. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Public Works, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, we just received this tonight when I was coming in that on his way out the door, the governor is officially adopting California clean air standards, which will impact our vehicle purchasing. Even though New York, Delaware, and Connecticut and Pennsylvania have not, New Jersey is going to do this. So we're going to start having electric garbage trucks and electric.
Mary, I can't hear you, dear.
I'm sorry, I got my mic on. We're going to start having to have primarily vehicles over 8,500 pounds. And I mean, can you imagine having garbage trucks? We'll probably have to double the fleet. So one truck is being charged. We don't even have the infrastructure to do this. I just received this tonight. I don't care whether the governor's a Democrat or a Republican. That's just stupid. You know, we can't, even our windmills don't work right without killing every whale in the state. Other than that, I've had a lot of residents email me about the range. Everybody knows we've had a range there for at least 50 years that I know of, but we're hearing it a lot more. And you say, okay, well, we're using it more often now. This is really due to the trees being taken down. The trees, they took the trees down, they followed all our rules, they gave us money for all of these trees. I've talked to the shade tree commissioner, the head of it, and we really would like to see trees and shrubs planted using tree back money, because they gave us all that money. I don't even know exactly how to do it. We probably have to get the engineer involved, but we really need to do this. Something people that are a lot smarter than me will know what to plant around that range to stop this, because it is, if I can hear it at my house, it really needs to be done. It's nobody's fault, really. It's just trees naturally inhibit all of this transfer. Like today, it's even more loud when it's a cloudy day and it's rainy. Apparently that keeps the noise down as opposed to dissipating out. So I'd like, however that has to be handled, I'm sure, Glenn, you'll work on that.
Actually, I've been in contact with the police chief, and we had a meeting with a acoustic expert who's going to come out and give us some mitigation ideas and what we can employ out at the range.
And again, it shouldn't really come out of it can come out of tree bank, because they put what, over $1 million into the tree bank when they cut all those trees down.
Understood.
So, okay, I've got so many things written here. I only found out recently that we have no list of the streetlights that are out. So my suggestion, I had made a suggestion, I really probably should have put it in the form of a motion, that because the attorney, after a lot of 2.5 months, finally figuring out that it took a lot of research, that we can in fact start not paying for the streetlights that have been out. Now, I made the suggestion, give them 30 days, because it might not just be a bulb, it might be underground wiring or whatever. And I tried to accumulate, let's get together and find out how many streetlights we have out and when were they first reported being out, only to find out there is no list. Now, I know years ago, there used to be a list, and it was centralized in Public Works. Now, residents are reporting their own, so we have no list on that. It's coming through, resident complaints, and it's being called into Jersey Central, but there's no centralized list. I keep dumping stuff on you, Glenn, but got to get together in some way. I know
It's being addressed. We're going to be sending out a couple of Public Works employees in the next week or two to do that survey. We
Okay,
did it about somewhere between a year and 18 months ago. We did have a list that was bulk reported to Jersey Central. We'll have the follow-up for you.
okay, because I know years ago, Public Works did it, and then we were paying them too much overtime, and then we had the police doing it on third shift, and that just became cumbersome for them. So we had the auxiliaries actually looking at them when it was dark out, because our Public Works employees don't usually work when it's dark out. And then it was brought to Public Works and it was put together. So thank you very much. Let me see. I did one thing, Councilman Zabrowski said before, is that I changed my mind. When this first came up on the agenda, I think it was last month, I abstained with this affordable housing numbers because again, it started last year. I wasn't involved in it. I didn't know a lot. Then this past Thursday, I believe it was, I received a phone call. Apparently, the numbers had gone up or down. I don't even remember. I think they had originally gone down, and then they went up a little bit again. And the judge needed an answer right away whether we were going to accept it. And so they wanted to know what my vote was going to be. And I said, well, I'm going to abstain because, again, I don't know enough. And oh, no, we need a vote. And I said, well, in that case, my vote is no. So then I spoke to the planner. And after talking to him, I was even more of a no because, I mean, if we had purchased that property, that not only is it right up against our park, but it's designated prime. No housing can go on that property the way it's currently zoned. The way I see this going is since those acreages were included in this number, they have a number of affordable housing designated there. And unless we can make that up someplace else, that the zoning will have to change on that. So after I heard all of that, I was a definite no. So I was never in favor of this and publicly, stated it the last time it came up. And I really wish, I mean, I know, believe me, I know that when things are in litigation, we can't talk about it. But before we're making a formal vote on this, there wasn't even any numbers specified here. How do the residents know what's going on? Perhaps, I mean, I know it'll be too late because we're going to accept this tonight. That's the way the numbers went. But maybe you could bring the planner in.
Numbers in the resolution, Mary.
Okay, but the people read the agenda online and there's no numbers there, okay? And maybe we could bring the planner in just to explain to the residents exactly how this is going on. Because I would like to enlist our assemblymen, our 2 assembly people, and our senator to maybe help us. I know you can't change City Hall, but this, to me, affordable housing now is nothing more than a handout to the developers because they're the only ones that win on this. No matter what the towns do, we just keep getting stuck. And I explained, I'm on the first aid squad, and years ago, before half of this development was done, there was a car T-boned on Main Street. Took me 20 minutes from the first aid building on Washington Road to get to the accident scene. We can't expand our streets. There's nowhere to go. Affordable housing should be, made to account for this stuff. It shouldn't be, oh, there's a little piece of land here. That's going to be residential and so many have to be affordable. That's not the way to handle it. That's not safe for the residents in this town. If we ever had to evacuate this town, half of the people would probably die because you can't get out of this town. It's not that people don't get out of your way in the ambulance. They try their best. There's nowhere to go when the town gets tied up like that. And if we could, get our assembly people and everything on our side, maybe if we did a resolution and we sent it to other towns to get we've done that so many times on other things. Maybe if we could get, other towns to join in on this, maybe something would be done. And I feel like Don Quixote tilting at windmills, but, it's just, and also maybe we could get them to get involved in helping us with JCP&L, because in 4 days we've had 2 blackouts and they were supposed to be here tonight. I understand the person was sick, couldn't come. I understand that.
I was just notified the power's back on.
Well, okay, the power's back on. The point is it's going out all the time. And guess where all of the trucks were when I came to the meeting? They were all down there at that portable station that's been there for almost a year. And yet, in their note to us, it said, none of this stuff has anything to do with that. I find it hard to believe. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Water, Sewer, and Environmental, Councilman Sinarski.
Thank you, Mayor. The first one I want to talk about is I did make the appointment with the Superintendent of Water and Sewer, and starting next Wednesday coming up, I'm going to be making my tours. I'm going to start at Duhernal and learn about the wells and the fields and the pumps and everything there. The next thing is our next Monday is the it's the meeting for the community garden. I really don't know how many are left, but I will find out Monday because they had the open house after our last meeting. So I don't know how many they have right now. The environmental meeting is also on Tuesday. Other than that, progress.
Thank you. Recreation, Council President Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get into any of the fun recreation items, I agree with affordable housing is a problem. And we are up against, as a municipality, we are up against so many forces that are mandating what we do. So I am making a motion that we oppose Senate Bill 1408. It is, according to the New Jersey League of Municipalities, also known as the Stranded Asset Rule. It is an unnecessary and unwarranted preemption of local planning. So they want to take more of our planning away from us. In the New Jersey League of Municipalities statement, they noted that any such application can be made through our existing redevelopment process. And further, the New Jersey League of Municipalities noted that the criteria in the bill is ripe for litigation and expressed concern that this could turn into a backdoor means to challenge a town's approved affordable housing and expose the municipality to litigation. So we have it coming from every direction. And I'm looking for a second to oppose Senate Bill 1408, as well as the accompanying Assembly companion bill that's anticipated, A 2757.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Falca.
Quick question. This is League of Municipalities recommended this action?
Yes.
Yes.
Polisi.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
We can have a reso for the next meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Council President?
Yes, thank you for passing that, first of all. And I do want to announce what I had done as part of my community outreach as a council person has been pre-council meetings, which have gone on for nearly 5 years. And I think they've run their path, but I do want to continue community outreach. So I have established office hours. The first ones will be here on this Wednesday from 7 to 8 o'clock. We'll talk about what's on your mind, the questions. If you can email me questions in advance, I have a better chance of getting you answers at that point in time. So I encourage that. And this way we can have an open discussion about what's on people's minds versus what's on our agendas and how we can all work together to achieve our goals. So I hope that those of you who are here will take advantage of that, as well as contacting any of the council people through our emails and phones, where we are here to serve you. I also wanted to mention that Cultural Arts is having a meeting here also on Wednesday. It's been advertised. It's an extra meeting. So we've got a couple of things going on Wednesday if you wanted to come by. And I do want to let everyone know memorial tree plantings on April 12th. There will be one for Christian Rivera, who was the child who was deceased behind the Sayreville War Memorial High School. There will be a planting near the Parks Department building. That would be a cherry blossom tree. And there will also be a planting for Frank Bella at Veterans Park. and that will be a red maple. We're looking forward to having JCP&L here, but at least the power is back on. And I will be attending a climate change advisory tomorrow at the Sayreville High School via remote. And a couple of other things going on include, and I'm hoping we can have a community calendar that we've been talking about. I know that's something that's out there, but April 25th, there is a gift card bingo tricky tray fundraiser at St. Stan's. And April 26th, the First Presbyterian Church Flea Market is going to occur. So want to get a good community calendar for all the events that go on in town. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Council
Donna?
President.
The Easter egg hunt is before the 2 tree plantings on the
Thank
same
you.
day.
Okay, I think I said the Easter egg hunt last meeting, and I just took it off my list. But yes, the
Free
Easter egg
savings
hunt.
that morning.
Yeah.
General discussions and agenda items, Glenn?
To award a non-fair and open contract to Top Security Locksmiths for the installation of security doors on the Burks Park bathrooms in an amount not to exceed $19,000.
Any objection? Next item.
Application for special event received from Head Over Heels to conduct a community day on April 13th on their property located at 287 Cheesequake Road.
Any objection? Next item, Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor. Authorization to call for a certified list for patrolmen from the Department of Personnel.
Any objection? Okay. CFO's report, Danielle.
Mayor, progress.
Thank you. Borough Engineers report.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing on my agenda, but Mayor, you wanted me to talk about an issue that someone raised concerning the consumer confidence reports that were submitted to the
Go
residents.
ahead, Jay.
I think there was a question about the lithium quantities that were in that report. I spoke with Dave Leitner, your water and sewer director. He's your licensed operator. He indicated that that is not currently a regulated contaminant. The state, by the Safe Drinking Water Act, there's certain unregulated contaminants that they want you to monitor so they can gather data in order to, in the future, develop regulations for that lithium quantity. At the present time, there are none. You're not in non-compliance, so there's no health and safety issues from the borough standpoint with those numbers. He indicated that if anyone has any specific questions, give him a call, and also there is information available on the Water Department website.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Borough Attorney.
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, we're going to open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, Parlin. Mayor, when in response to Mary's comment about the numbers for the affordable housing, you said, well, they were in the resolution. Public could see them. First of all, those resolutions weren't out to the public until Friday evening. And second of all, I pointed out the second typo where we used a different town, Wyckoff. Second typo this year, you folks don't even read the resolutions. So to suggest that the public should, come on. And I will point out this, if you go to the borough website and you look at affordable housing, it has the January numbers there. That wasn't even updated. So let's get real, Kennedy, okay? Now, I want to talk about, and I'm sorry Tina can't be here. I do want to talk about, and especially tonight when I'm glad those folks are back, or at least some of them, most of them are back, the 2,300 folks that are out. But on the agenda under correspondence is a notice of a public hearing to be held before the BPU on March 31st for JCP&L's verified petition for approval of an infrastructure investment program. That's to increase rates for infrastructure improvement. I'm sorry Tina's not here, but let me ask this question of the mayor and council, the administrator. Have we inquired if any of these expenditures will help Sayreville and how? Are we taking a position on this action and these investments? We've had outage after outage after outage. And I would hope we would have a position on this. Can anybody tell me about this? It's on our agenda. It's before the BPU. Are we sending anybody? Are we going to comment?
Go ahead, Glenn.
Nothing?
I've not reviewed the correspondence yet. I just became aware of it tonight.
Well, why do you think they notify us? So that they can be received and filed? They notify us so that if we have concerns like outage after outage after outage after outage, or streetlights being out for a year and a half, that we can go to the hearing and address those. That's why you folks are elected. This public hearing is an opportunity to represent the borough and have the problems that and voice the problems that the people of the town are having. That's why they send this to you. That's why they send it to you. I'm disappointed, not surprised, but disappointed. Okay, you should be up there fighting for us. The other thing I want to go back to is what I said earlier. The borough form of government is a weak mayor, strong council form of government. You folks, the council, have an obligation to know this and to do your jobs. I understand the mayor has a secret $90,000 dark money slush fund that his chief of staff chairs, that he uses to fund your campaign, so you have to keep him happy. I understand that. But according to the law, it's the council that governs. The council is the legislative branch. It's their job to govern. I'm pretty familiar with the statute. It's 40A60. I'm sure you are all too. But I reviewed it again today. Nowhere does it say the council's job is to say, yes, mayor, yes, mayor, yes, mayor, whatever you'd like, mayor. But that's what you do. Well, sorry, Dan, I didn't mean you. But you're an example of what happens when you don't say, yes, mayor, anything you want, mayor. Last year, Christian found out what happens when you do that. The council, and by the way, the council and the people are going to miss your independent thinking, Dan. You've got 8 months left, and I hope in those 8 months, you will teach this governing body what a council is supposed to do. It's supposed to legislate. Now, the mayor is the executive, so it's his job to ensure that what the council enacts is executed. So when the council votes to buy open space, as it did in 2023, it's the mayor's job to ensure that happens. That's the law. That's the law. The council legislates, and you voted to do that. Under the law, the mayor is supposed to prepare the budget that the council votes on. Needs to be adopted by March 31st, but instead, what did we do? We passed a resolution with the town of Wyckoff in there instead of Sayreville, giving him extra time. That's the mayor's job. Mayor, you're supposed to have a budget. I would note in South Amboy, they introduced and adopted their budget, where Dan is the CFO, by the way, and everybody's getting a big tax break. I hope, Mayor, when you present your budget to the council, which should have been done by now, we'll get an even bigger tax break. Where are we on the budget that you're supposed to present, Mayor?
Go ahead, Glenn. Go ahead, Danielle.
We hope to be able to introduce at the next meeting.
The next meeting. So that it'll be introduced at the April meeting. It won't be adopted in March.
Jim, you got to wrap
Good
it
job,
up.
Mayor.
Jim,
Thank you.
Jim, as always, your motions are in the record.
I'm sorry?
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Bob? Oh, wait a minute, Bob. That young lady there had her hand raised before you.
My name is Doreen Fraga, Saddlebrook, New Jersey. We're with Animal Protection League of New Jersey. And it was brought to our attention, 42 geese were rounded up on the property of Sayreville during the molt period in 2024 when geese are flightless and were gassed to death. Sayreville has a shared service contract with Middlesex County and the USDA, allowing the USDA access to Sayreville properties to kill the geese. I wrote to the mayor and council. I did forward FOIA reports, and we were hoping to work with Sayreville and ask them to cancel the shared service contract with Middlesex County and the USDA and cancel all lethal roundups and work with Animal Protection League. The properties that were involved were Buchanan, 24 geese were gassed, Kennedy Park, 14 geese were gassed, Major Drive, 4 geese were gassed, so that was 42 geese in total that were gassed to death. And a few years back, I attended a virtual meeting, and at the time, Mayor Kilpatrick, she was the mayor, and she stopped all lethal roundups with Middlesex County and the USDA. So we were hoping that that you would work with us. There are many, many non-lethal solutions. There's a few that if you wanted to name.
Yes, my name is Valerie, and I'm also with Animal Protection League. To name a few, there's a no feeding ban should be implemented, a habitat modification, which the #1 solution for permanently deterring geese, overseeding with flight turf. The grass has burbs on it and will bother the geese mouth when they try to eat the geese, excuse me, try to eat the grass. Plus will upset their stomachs. There's more. There's the hawk kite, which is very effective, attaching the tail to the tail of the hawk with streamers and mylar strips is very effective. Flags, predator cutouts, and attaching a plastic bag. These are all ways that would help. We'd like to do a site visit. We'd like for this to be considered. And, you know, as you could tell, we definitely do not want geese or any animals to be killed.
Your
Thank you.
timing couldn't be better. 2 weeks ago, there was Read Across America, and I was down in Arliss School. About 20 years ago, I was down in Arliss School in those days, they called it Dr. Seuss Day. And we have a problem with geese. And, you know, Sayreville is one of the stopovers for migrating fowl. And so there are issues. And I asked all the kids, I deputized all the kids in the class, as I did 20 years ago, and I asked them for solutions. And I have two people in Borough Hall, Elise, Elise Barone and Rebecca Garbuski, who are going to work with the kids. If you leave your information with the clerk's office, I will include you in it. Now, as I said to everybody, for me, the health of a child, it comes first and foremost. So they have the opportunity. Now, over the years, we have tried probably many of the solutions that you have. But I have informed everybody, I'm giving you the opportunity for humane solutions. But I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and the health of a child comes before a goose to me. I certainly don't hate animals. I grew up with every imaginable pet, and they all slept in the bed except for the reptiles. I'm looking for a solution for this. But we do have a goose problem, and one of the problems is people feed the geese. So we've had dogs, we've had egg addling, we've had a number of things. So I'm always looking for solutions, and I'll include you in the process. And I'd be actually very pleased. It'll be very helpful to the kids who are really putting their all into researching this. And I know Elise and Rebecca would most certainly welcome you aboard.
I do have a packet of information.
If you'd give it to Nicole and we'll give it, how many copies are in there? One?
One copy, but I have some information.
Do you have it digitally, dear?
I have our brochure. My part is in there, and then I have here all of the links to everything that's in this.
Okay,
brochure that you can
okay.
open up. And I just wanted to add one thing. We work with an ecological landscape designer. She designs this kind of riparian buffer, which is the #1 solution to deter geese.
Okay.
Around the lakes and ponds. And
Well, I told Arliss School, which is an elementary school, and what I found was when someone's a little bit taller than your kneecap, they have a different perspective on life and they see things differently. And I have always gone to the kids for solutions because they don't have a filter, and they usually give me excellent solutions. And I've been doing that for several decades. So I will include you in the process and the project. And I always look for the humane way first. But again, I'm a father and a grandfather, and the health of a child always comes first for me.
that I could follow up with as well.
With,
For this program?
here in the Borough Hall, sure. No, I'll have Nicole send you Elise and Rebecca's contact information.
So I guess my last question would be, so the shared.
Can you speak, because we're going to miss you on the recording.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the shared service agreement that you have with Middlesex County, is that still active or is that?
Well, we're supposed to have results in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So I'll have the BA check that agreement and we'll see where we are on it.
Because we would like for you to cancel the lethal portion of that contract because I witnessed a goose roundup. I saw what happens. to
We've
the
been having
geese
them here for
when-
years.
When they're gassed to death and it's horrific.
I just need you to understand, I'm the opposite of hating animals, hating pets. But before I allow a kid to go to a playing field that's loaded with goose droppings, I will gas them. Because no kid should know, because a kid will touch it and then they put it just spreads disease and I won't have that.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add one other thing. Edgewater is right on the Hudson and they had
That's Edgewater's across the river from us.
right, and they had a goose problem and they've been non-lethal now since 2016. I included his contact information. They have done wonderful things. They had all the poop issue and all that
Right.
kind of thing. They ended up buying a poop machine.
We have that.
And they've done.
The
you
kids
know, other
recommended
things.
that 20 years ago and we bought it.
Okay.
We still have it, we still use
I
it.
can't wait to meet these kids.
Well, it's a new
remarkable.
generation, but they're committed. And like I said, I get wonderful ideas and solutions from them. So welcome aboard.
Oh, good. Maybe we could recruit them.
Start them young.
Thank you very much for
Okay.
allowing me to speak tonight. I
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Bob, is Bob here or did he leave? Oh, Bob, there you are.
I could have left because the power's back on in my house.
Yeah, that's good.
Bob Egan, Saraville. Just a couple things. The meeting for this Jersey Central, where's that going to be held? The BPU
Well, it's not a
meeting?
meeting. Just the representative will be here. We ask that you submit your questions before it.
BPU. He's talking about what's
Oh,
on the
the
agenda.
BPU
Yeah,
or,
the BPU.
oh, Glenn?
Because there's no address
I
there.
became aware of it tonight. I've not yet seen the letter. I will review it tomorrow. I don't know yet.
Okay, somebody will get a hold of you, Bob, and let you know.
Okay. And as far as this, these power outages, and they're talking about infrastructure, they spent a ton of money on these smart meters, I'm sure. How come they didn't spend that money to fix our problem? That's one thing. And another thing, since I'm a few months shy of 70, I had other things to do, so I didn't come to some of the meetings. But a few meetings ago, Councilman Sinarski, when Councilman Novak brought up making the firehouse a historical site in our town, he said it was too early. I don't know if you can comment on why it's too early. I would think the sooner you can apply for grants to get money, the better. So I don't know, why is it too early to
Hold on,
to
Bob.
make it a site?
We got an answer for it.
Despite the assertions of people to the contrary, we did our research through the grant writer. There is a minimal amount of grants that are available for historic preservation. The vast majority of that money goes to places of higher significance than our original town hall. If we're to wait for grants, it will delay the project years because it comes in increments of $15,000, $25,000, $50,000. We have the ability under the current open space fund to do historical preservation. We have the money in the account and it's going to be leveraged to get that building completed. We're currently working with the architect and the planning, after which we'll be in a position to go out to bid in short order to take care of the environmental problems in the building, and then the building reconstruction can begin. The architect's been instructed to make sure that it's preserved, but from a historical perspective, and that is what the outcome of that will be once the job is completed.
But the thing is, why can't you apply anyway? If you get
Well,
money,
because
you
it
get
costs
money.
money to apply for grant. We have to pay the grant writer to do that. And it takes an exponential amount of time for a minimum of money. So essentially, it's a decision based on return of investment. We have the funding here available to move forward. Why would we delay the project when clearly the voters have spoken by a 2-to-1 majority they wanted the building preserved? We can act on it and get it done.
Okay, good enough. And then as far as the range, now if it's going to cost Saraville a substantial amount of money to create a buffer to knock down the noise so that people, when they're sitting in their houses during the summer and warm months and have to listen to it, sounded like a good old boy demonstration today. It didn't sound like a controlled range to me. And I would say, I don't know how many of the police forces come. I'm great, I support police, believe me. But if it's going to cost us a ton of money, either they split the money, or I'm sure Fort Dix has plenty of available ranges.
Okay, so what's going on with the range currently? There is an uptick in activity. Our police department transitioned to new weapons, which requires a full day of training for each of our almost 90 officers, which is why there's been an upgrade in activity. As I explained to Councilwoman Novak earlier, we're engaging with an acoustic specialist to determine what the best sound mitigation strategies are. And in the money that we've garnered over the last several years, having the Port Authority visit us periodically, we will use that money to do whatever mitigation needs to be done, and it will not have to come out of the general fund.
Great. As long as it works and it's not our money. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
I can't hear. You have to come
Hi.
closer and speak in the mic.
Hi, my name is Leela Bynum, live in Sayreville. I came to understand I've been living here for about 4 years now, and electricity is going out more and more frequently. And I'm not really sure if it's like an infrastructure issue. Not sure what's happening. Before, when I first came here, it was like maybe a couple times a year, and now frequently. We lost electricity again a little while ago, which is why I came here to understand what's happening.
That was one of the questions we were going to ask the representative tonight. We have asked that question before. It's best when the representative comes. We've been told it's not a capacity issue. They don't quite clarify exactly what it is, but they have stated it's not capacity. I know that's the first thing that comes to mind. I think it's more about infrastructure.
When I've called them, they also are not clear of the answer, like if
Yeah.
it's
Well, they're consistent, and the 25, 26 years I've been up here, it's pretty consistent answer. So, if you would leave your information with Nicole or Jessica, as soon as I get some, I'll have it sent to you.
okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions, comments? Not being any, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close public.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Aye.
In favor?
Motion
Make a
to
motion
adjourn.
to close.
Wait a minute, not yet. Hold on. Thank you, young lady. What's the number? Oh. Oh, well, more on YouTube. Must have been the power. Okay, tonight's number, Zoom, which is the borough portal, were 12, 5 of them were employees. YouTube was 22. Okay, a couple things. As I said, a lot of what goes on is personal here, personal attacks. When I came back, I did a podcast with Mayor McCormick in Woodbridge, which is a town twice our size, twice our population. And I specifically asked Mayor McCormick how he was dealing with the streetlight outage. It's just a common thing throughout New Jersey. And he said he has seniors that have volunteered. What you have to do is find a pole where the bulb is out, and every pole has a serial number on it. And you write it down and you report it. So I know that the Councilman Kalasi has taken it upon himself. And I know Mr. Robinson, who's a senior, has done some work here. It all helps. It's not the ultimate solution, but it's the most cost favorable solution for us. That being said, affordable housing. When I became mayor, you inherit certain housing projects, you create certain housing projects. Sayreville, in my opinion, has really been discovered on the map, and it's the location. My understanding is the population in New Jersey is moving south of Raritan River. The jobs are north. And so we're just a very convenient location, why many of us moved here. But that being said, in my mayor's office, the number one most difficult issue to deal with is finding people affordable housing. And the super number one problem is single mothers with children. To find them an affordable place to live is a very, very difficult task. So it used to be if we put in affordable housing, we could make the stipulation for Sayreville residents only. You are no longer allowed by law to make that restriction. Public affordable housing is for everyone. That is the law. Am I correct, Counselor?
You are correct, Mayor.
Okay. So that being said, particularly now with the price of housing in Sayreville, people keep saying that several years ago under Mayor Kilpatrick, they had this 40 acres in Sayreville Park appraised. That's the first process. It was appraised for $650,000. And as I said at the last minute, on North Edward, they just sold a Cape Cod house for $630,000. The property valued at Riverton is valued at $1 million an acre. The property on Journey Mill Road, where they're building those warehouses, is $500,000 an acre. So to say that we can pick up that property for $650,000 is really a bold-faced lie. It's not even misinformation. It's just a bold-faced lie. That being said, the same people that are promoting that, I remember when the Ernst Road connection from Washington Road to Main Street was going through, I received numerous phone calls to stop it. When Patriot Hills development went in, I received phone calls to stop it. It's the right of the property owner. It's the right, it's what the country was founded on. I wish I had a different answer, but that is the legal answer. The development going on up behind Costa Verde in Melrose, that was approved in the last administration. And I'm not throwing the blame around, but it was.
When that was approved, Kennedy, you were the
What?
mayor when that was approved?
When it was approved on the planning board. That was a deal where National Lead owned that property. And they had to go, I don't know, it was a conditional sale. I was out of it by the time that went through. So that being said, you inherit stuff, you create stuff, it's part of progress. So the average cost of a house in Sayreville now is an easy $500,000, $500,000 to $1 million. We've had several houses sell for $1 million. So the Sayreville that I came to long ago is a lot different than the Sayreville is today. It's gaining in affluence. And as I said, sitting up here, we're managing a service business. We're here to provide the police, fire, and first aid, pick up the trash. We have 600 roads that we need to take care of. We supply water to, I'm going to say 14,000 residents, homes. Jay, do you know the number? 17,000. These are the things that we're in charge of making sure that we can deliver the services. You know, in New Jersey, when I came to New Jersey in 1958, one of the memories, and I was 4 years old, so I'll be 72 this year, was in those days, hunters wore those red and black check jackets, and there were these hunters walking down Main Street with shotguns over their arms. It was just the way it was, you know, it was accepted. So we're dealing with progress, and you can fight all you want, but this is now part of the legislation, and that's one of the questions we asked our attorney, who's a top flight land use attorney, along with municipal. And if for whatever reason, these 100-odd towns, and there's, 560 towns in the state, if they're successful in reversing this legislation, we win. We just didn't have to spend any money. If they're not able to reverse this legislation, we're where we were in the beginning. Do you want to give a report on your meetings with the judges?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think it's important that the public understands how the process actually works. This process for the fourth round affordable housing is statutorily established. It's a new process that was established by an amendment to the Fair Housing Act in March of last year, about a year ago. And how it works is in October, the DCA established a number for or a regional need based on a state need of affordable housing, an established methodology for determining the allocation of that need to each municipality after allocating it to each individual region. Middlesex County is in Region 3, so that is the region we have to deal with. And in doing so, their report was non-binding on municipalities. What the legislation did was actually put it on the municipalities to make their own determination as to what their affordable housing obligation is. But the caveat is you have to follow the exact formula that's set forth in the statute. So when we got meaning the borough got the DCA report in October, the planner, myself, members of the governing body and staff reviewed that in detail and looked at where in the DCA report, if it was correct, or whether there was errors in there, because that DCA report provided an prospective, meaning what you need to accomplish in the fourth round, obligation of 170 units. So in doing so, we found that there were some errors. There were some errors with regard to the developable land that they calculated for the borough. And we then recalculated it based upon those numbers, and in compliance with the statute, adopted a resolution on or before January 31st, setting forth what our obligation is. And that we determined was 210 units. So we reduced it from what the DCA had determined when we adopted our resolution in January. The courts then established a program, an alternative dispute program through the Superior Court, that you had to file an action, a declaratory judgment complaint, putting forth your resolution and asking the courts to confirm it, and getting a judgment in order to confirm it. And in doing so, it also, this is all in compliance with the statute. The statute then set forth a period of time where any objector can file objections to how you calculated that number. In Sayreville, we received 2 objections, one from the Fair Share Housing Center and from the New Jersey Builders Association. Both of them rejecting to our number. Fair Share provided their own calculation, which then ended up being approximately the same as the DCA's calculation, saying that we really needed to provide an obligation of 270 units. The Builders Association basically said no municipality should be able to change the DCA numbers. You had to accept those DCA numbers. So as part of this program, we had to go through a vigorous, very short time period settlement conference with the program judge, which is a retired affordable housing judge from the prior round, along with special masters, and engage in, by law, by statute, you had to engage in the settlement with good faith to try to come up with a resolution for it. Then after that, you go into what they call a session. If you can't settle, you go into a session, which is essentially a hearing before the program judge, and then the program takes the results of that session, brings it to a recommendation to an affordable housing judge at the Superior Court, and they make a final determination as to what the rulings are. During our process for Sayreville, we actually we're working very well with Fair Share, and they actually agreed with all of our acreage that we determined was developable, that, and agreed that DCA was wrong with. The only difference was how they calculated, the methodology they calculated, the math they used versus what we did. And we worked and negotiated very hard with them, and were able to come to a settlement of 240 units versus the 270 that they originally were trying to push upon us. The Builders Association was forcing upon us, and what the DCA came to. And so that is what was authorized in this resolution this evening, is a settlement whereby we're agreeing to a prospective need obligation of 240 units. And that is what now the next step we have to do pursuant to the statute is now plan for that. That doesn't necessarily mean that every one of those units is going to be built. Doesn't mean that we're going to have 240 new affordable housing units being developed. We're going to look, plan, and come up with creative ways to address that need through bonus credits, through all different types of mechanisms. That's what our next step in the process is. And we're going to then, by the deadline is the end of June, have to adopt a new Fair Share plan that identifies how we're going to address those. So there will be more action for this governing body as well as the planning board coming up in the very future. But it is something that I believe the borough, and in my opinion, and being involved with numerous municipalities doing through this process, as well as my offices, and I've been in constant contact with other attorneys who represent other municipalities through this process. And it's my recommendation that this is a good outcome on behalf of the municipality, this settlement number, and I think it's going to be in the borough's best interest that it did adopt this resolution.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. And with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, everyone.